What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
Hey, BALLBUSTERS, Bates here with your friend and mine, Ray Mungus, and we're ready to walk with the dad on episode 42, Way Life Live. How's it going over there, man?
It's going, man. It's going. I guess I sound different, or am I sounding better than the pre-stream?
A little better. You're still a little echoey, but
Man, that sucks.
not echoey. It just not echoey. That was definitely 100% the wrong word. I don't know. Just maybe a little distant.
Well, in any case, you know, I'm gonna bear with it for now.
Oh, okay. That sounded a little bit better. It sounded like you're closer to the mic now. I mean, you're 100% audible. It's just, I don't know. It just sounds a little bit lower quality than normal.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit tired of this mic because of how different it sounds and everything else. And you know, this mic pretty much is set up for gaming and all of that stuff. So I'm going to look into a new setup very, very soon. Hopefully, sound as good as your mic sound.
What are you using? Logitech?
Sennheiser. It's a few years old though.
I'm surprised. I mean, that's what I use, but I mean, mine's only less than a year old, and freaking, I spent a fortune on the setup. I mean, between this and the preamp I use, I think I spent like $250 on this mic setup. But I mean, I love it. The customization and the sound quality are some of the best, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, every time somebody asks for anything audio related, I pretty much recommend Sennheiser immediately.
Yeah.
We're not getting paid for it. We just use this shit. But I think this set is a little bit on the low end, probably upwards to like $80. But it was a gift, so you know, it is what it is. And like I said, it does what it needs to do for gaming. I never anticipated ever doing any sort of radio show or anything like that. So you know, hey, life happens sometimes. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be upgrading my set at some point very soon.
Yeah, you know, Christmas right around the corner. That's a great Christmas present, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. But I'm doing all right for the most part. How's everything on your end?
Pretty good. I finally got some time off work. I won't be going in again until Tuesday. So, yes, that is nice.
That is nice. Yeah, you sound a little more chipper than usual.
I don't know. I guess things are just going pretty good. I don't have a whole lot to complain about. You know, just some typical bullshit here and there at work, but for the most part, things are going good. I had a good couple of streams on my channel the last few nights, and I don't know. I guess when I woke up this morning, I had a really, really nice message from one of my OG stream supporters, like someone who's been on my stream since like the very, very beginning. And they sent me a really nice message, DM today, this morning on Twitter, you know, saying how, I don't know, they were just thanking me because, you know, I listen to I get a lot of kids in my game streams, which, you know what, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about that. You know, gaming streams are really, they bring in kids. It is what it is, you know. It wasn't my target audience, but at this point, I kind of welcome it because it's you know, I'm a kid at heart. I know what kids, you know, I know what I went through as a kid, and I never really had I guess a role model that I could talk to and vent to and ask questions to and not feel weird about it. So I get a lot of kids in my streams, and you know, sometimes they get a little personal and they ask some stuff, and because they're curious, you know, they're kids. And I had as I said, one of my OGs, you know, send me a really nice thank you message, and I guess that just put me in a good mood for the whole day.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, as far as kids go, it comes with the territory. We all started playing video games as kids, and it's only natural for the next step in progression and evolution of video games and game streaming, that they go and watch that shit. Like I not necessarily for me, I watch it on occasion. I grew up in a way where like my younger brother was always the king of video games, if you will. I was just content with getting through the levels. He was the mastery one. So basically I grew up watching my brother play a lot or being the player too, oddly enough. And then when I became a teenager, I met my good buddy who was also a big gamer, and I basically spent the time being player two or the game watcher. So at this point in time, I'm just like, I don't want to watch anybody play video games, let alone some random streamer or anything like that. That's why I don't really pop into your channel too much. When I do, it's just to hang out and all that. But hey, if it's working, the streams have been going good, everybody's enjoying themselves, then, why not?
Yeah, no, I mean, I try to target more just towards the chat and wherever the conversation gets steered into. So, it's my streams are always much less about the gameplay and game, and more about whatever anybody in the chat wants to talk about. I have a couple of rules. It's mostly don't get political, and don't be racist or sexist. Those are my rules in my chat. Otherwise, almost anything is fair game. And if it's getting a little on the weird side, I'll curb it at that point. But for the most part, I haven't had any problems. Most of my regulars know each other, and they're pretty friendly with each other, and it's been going really well. And I gotta say, I've met some really cool kids. I feel like, I don't know, I guess it's weird to say, but I feel like I help some of them at times. Again, these are younger kids, 14, 15, 16 years old. That's a rough time in any kid's life. You're going through all kinds of shit. So, having, I guess, some type of a adult figure to talk to and vent to that isn't a teacher or a parent, not all kids have that. So, I don't know. I just kind of feel, I don't know. I guess I like being that big brother figure to some of these kids. It's rewarding in a way, as weird as that sounds. But it also, I guess, is kind of getting me ready for fatherhood at some point.
Yeah, definitely. It has its own rewards, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with it. Doing a little bit of good in the world, and especially online. You can pretty much, you can't take anything negative away from that. There's so much negativity going on through social media, commenting, and all that stuff. And if you take a minute to, just put a little bit of good back into the world, you did your part. So it's definitely cool that you've been doing it and that you've been successful with it and are having fun doing it. All that really matters.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you really gauge success on a no-name little streamer channel in today's world of streaming, but in terms of success and feeling rewarded, 100%. As I said, I've met some really cool people, and I feel like I helped some of these people. Even if I'm just listening and maybe not even giving them advice, just being there and listening, it means a lot to them. And it makes me feel good just at least trying to help in some way. And if they have some fun and some laughs or get some good advice out of it, it's all the better.
Sounds like success to me.
All right. So, also, I had a really weird beer rant pre-stream. I am not liking this beer at all. I am drinking a Arrogant Bastard bourbon barrel-aged ale. And I don't really like it. It's not awful, but thankfully I did not pay for this because I'd be kind of upset if I did.
It sounds good on paper.
It does, and you know what? Other people may really like it. I'm just not I don't know, and it's not even that heavy. It's only 8.1%. It just, I don't know. It's just got this weird tinny aftertaste to me. I don't think everybody gets that though, but I'm getting this tinny aftertaste, and a little off-putting, but thankfully this is my last bottle. My buddy gave a few of them to me, and then I can be done with these. It's been in my refrigerator for weeks now. I'm like, all right, let me just fucking drink this thing. I'm sick of looking at it. It's taking up the spot for a beer that I'll enjoy, you know?
Yeah, no, I could definitely relate to that. I think I have a beer upstairs, and I don't even want to call it a beer. It's like, I forget what kind of hybrid thing it is. But
What is it, a Zima? Smeared off ice?
But my cousin brought him over to one of the barbecues, and he's like, "You got to try these." I think it's like an alcoholic ginger ale or something. He was so excited to bring him over, and it took every ounce of me to drink that can down. And basically, over the last 2 years or something, it's just been sitting in the refrigerator.
It's probably all flat and nasty.
Probably.
Just fucking pop that shit and just dump it, man.
Yeah, no. I would look better the next time he comes by, because he'll open the fridge and be like, "Oh, you finally drank that."
Yeah, fucking. You know, I would have people back when I was living with my parents. We'd have people who'd come by for barbecues, and they'd bring by all kinds of shit beer and just throw it into our refrigerator in the garage, and it'd be sitting there for fucking 2 years. And you know, every couple of years, I'd have to go into the refrigerator and just take out all this fucking 5-year-old beer and just start dumping it all. And it was disgusting. Get rid of it before it turns into a science project, man.
That sounds like Anthony's old barbecues. Well, the Rebels' old barbecues.
Oh my god!
Everybody would bring over like the worst shit, and he would just keep it all in like a garbage can and drag it out like the next year for the barbecue.
Yeah, dude, we would be digging through beers that somebody brought from 3 years prior.
I mean,
that motherfucker couldn't even get us fresh beer. We got his old fucking hand-me-down leftover beer from barbecues past.
But that's a good part. Like, I'd always bring my own stuff and like stash it in a smaller cooler or something. Meanwhile, everybody else that I'm not necessarily talking to or anything like that, they're down in the Bud Lights and the Coors Lights and whatever other.
No, it would always be some weird funky beer. You remember that fucking pepper beer he was trying to pass off on us, and then Crackhead Girl drank it all?
Yep. Speaking of that, I gotta talk to you about that after the stream, but I'm not saying it here.
All right, no, of course not. All right, so back on track here. So what have we been up to? So we had the giveaway a couple weeks ago. I am sorry to say we have not shipped out the Boxo Mystery yet. I am actually going to be heading up to Mungus's Den of Evil tomorrow to drop off the last bits of the Boxo Mystery, so the box can be fully assembled and then sent out to the winner. So hopefully maybe the end of this week. If not, I would say the beginning of next week it will be shipped out, and we will let the winner know when it is shipped out. But hopefully I should be able to get up there tomorrow. I am off until Tuesday, so I got nothing better to do except spend time with the wife. So hopefully we can get that done. And then Wednesday was Halloween, and we watched a movie. It wasn't a particularly good movie, and if I never see it again, I'll die a happy man.
Yeah, man. Like, if you guys weren't with us last week, you could pretty much gauge how horrible Halloween Resurrection is, because like we were all excited to watch a bad Halloween movie, and we popped it in, and we had a good time at the beginning, but by the end of the stream, I feel like the two of us were both spent, like completely drained of all energy and happiness and anything else that would come out of watching a bad movie. It was like not as a bad movie that was so good or so bad that it was good, but a movie that was so bad it was bad. Like, it's been a long time since I've watched it, and I agree with you.
That was my first time watching it in its entirety, and whoa, that was rough on every level. I'm still trying to figure out how the kid called the cops once he realized that people were dying and Myers was in the house, and the cops took like 40 minutes to get there.
Yeah. They should have that shit programmed on their GPS. They should all the police cruisers should have like a map, like taped to the dashboard to the Myers house at that point.
How is the Myers house even still standing? I mean, at that point, you're talking 25, 30 years since anyone's been living in it. It's dilapidated. The town would have knocked that shit down years ago.
Yeah, that's good real estate right there. There's no need to keep this dilapidated murder house, that they're probably chasing kids out of all the time for the last however many years. Knock that shit down, build a brand new one, and, sell it for an obscene amount of money and property tax the shit out of it.
So, that was our last live commentary, and we already have our next live commentary planned. We got to set a date, though.
We do. I don't know what date we were penciling in.
I don't think we had a date.
We were kicking one back and forth, but I don't remember it.
I mean, I guess we got to see, because we need to get at least one other person, if not two other people, in on watching our next commentary movie, which we'll announce in a second. We've already announced it, but for anybody who's watching right now who doesn't know, we will announce in a second. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe see, Black Friday. That'd be kind of a cool day. Day after Thanksgiving, and
I'd be A-okay with that. I'm going to be home from work whether they like it or not. But yeah, definitely. I think that would be a good goal to shoot for. I'll set up the Way of Life signal into the sky and see if there's any people that want to join us on it. Everybody is going to be around and doing family things and Christmassy things. If you're bored, you come hang out. Pop us on the TV while you're decorating the tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. I mean, the night before is going to be the next last drive-in marathon. I think the trailer said it's going to be 4 movies.
That's right. And we're going to see if we're doing anything with that.
I don't know. I mean, with it being on Thanksgiving night, and we're having.
Oh, that's right.
We're having I'm having 15 people over here for Thanksgiving, friends and family. So it's
not only are you going to be super drunk, but you are going to be super busy. So that's more than fine. I'm definitely going to tune in. Thanksgiving after the dinner's over, it's very low key in my house. So I'm really looking forward to kicking back and watching that.
Yeah, I mean maybe if I'm alive and awake, and maybe I'll actually do some live streaming of it later in it, but I don't know. I can't make any guarantees right now.
That's cool.
But so all right. So tentatively for Black Friday, we will do our next live commentary. It's a good one. It's one probably none of you have ever heard of, but it is as far as I'm concerned, even though I've only seen the movie once, one of my personal favorites. A movie called An American Hippie in Israel. Title has nothing to do with the movie, as far as I remember. So, yeah, if you are having there you go, there's the trailer. If you're having a hard time tracking down this movie to watch it with us, you can go ahead and send me a message or a DM over on Twitter, and I will point you in the right direction for that one. That is because it's not an easy one to find. I also do believe the entire movie is on YouTube. So there's that too. Just don't watch it yet. Watch it with us. I promise it's going to be so fucking worth it if you watch this movie with us. Just trust me. Trust me.
It'll give you a wonderful feeling. That's what we've been saying all along.
And you'll
great, wonderful.
And you will understand exactly what that wonderful feeling is when you watch the movie with us. So, yeah. So, tentatively, for Black Friday, we'll see if we can get a few other people to join us for this live commentary, because I want to hear other people's live reactions. Because anybody else who joins us for this one, I will guarantee they have never seen it before, and that is going to make the viewing so much better. You don't want to miss this. Trust me. It's a good one. All right, so you got one other thing here, podcast anniversary. Wow, are we really at that point? Really been doing this a year?
Yeah, we are a few days past our year mark.
42 episodes in a year? That's not too bad. That means we missed 10 weeks?
Yeah, it's not horrible. I'll say that. We had a few weeks we had like emergencies going down. I lost my power during the winter for a couple episodes. Vacations.
Yeah, moving.
But 42 is not a bad thing, and especially when you consider the live commentaries that we've done. We have 8 of those. We have 5 episodes of MBH. You know, like we kept pretty busy on the broadcasting end.
You mean 3 episodes of MBH?
We have 3 episodes that you've heard, but and then there's that friggin' 18-hour marathon we did to like our friends. So I mean, you know, I'd say we strived for a pretty decent goal, and we kind of nailed it. You know,
yeah.
We didn't try. Like this is just something we did for fun, and lots of good things came of it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. 3 episodes of MBH, despite episode 5 being uploaded and ready to go. It's on the channel. It's just not live. It's there. I don't know where episode 4 is. That is somewhere out there in the void. But episode 5 is there.
It's there. But I want to get the last of the episodes up. I promised you that once Halloween in October was over, because we were pretty much completely stretched thin, that I was basically going to jump on the MBH train, and that's pretty much going to be happening very, very soon. I'm going to wrap up the last of the Way of Life Network transfer, and we're going to be really focusing on taking this whole podcast thing to the next level. So lots of new stuff is going to be coming out, and a lot of changes, little changes here and there, and different ways that you could be sharing and different ways you could be listening. So just keep an eye out for all that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys see my podcast studio right behind me that I built specifically for MBH. We've used it once. It worked out pretty good. It actually sounds amazing. Despite my weird basement setup, it actually sounded really good. It sounds better than how episodes 1 through 4 sounded. Right? Don't you think 5 sounds really good?
5 definitely sounds like significantly better, and given the circumstances of the way your layout is down there and the lack of, I guess, sound
deadening, and yeah,
exactly. Lack of sound deadening. You know, it came out a lot better and surprisingly decent. What I want is just a more continuous, schedule of doing this stuff, because I really want to reach the point we reached in episode 4. Episode 5 was a lot of fun, but our flow and everything in episode 4, which you may or may not hear. You probably hear it. It's probably the top notch. I really want to step up our game a little bit.
Yeah, so hopefully we will be getting those out soon. A lot of those are a bit out of some of the segments in those episodes are out of context now, but still really funny.
Yeah, definitely outdated. It's more interesting to, I guess, listen to the back and forth of us. We've been friends for 15, 20 years, some of us even longer. So, I hate to sell myself like this, but it's like we have a good rapport and a great back and forth with one another. So I think you'd really enjoy them if you haven't listened to them already. So keep an eye out on all that. We're going to be getting the 5 legendary and whatever episodes going up very soon.
Yeah. I guess we'll try to talk to. Well, I mean, Tom is the easiest person in the world to schedule anything with. He's always up for it. He's he's great. It's trying to pin down LR and get him get him on a night where he's not going to a show or some type of work event. You know, he's the hard one to pin down. But
if only we had a hologram of him. You know, we could do a MBH podcast with him as a hologram, like they're doing with DS.
Yeah.
The future, man, the future. All right, let's get this fucking episode started.
I was just about to say the exact same thing. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's jump into some horror news here. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? We got It Chapter 2 wraps filming. And we got the most amazing teaser poster ever. Did you guys see this teaser poster for It Chapter 2? Did you?
It blew me away. Like, seriously, I don't even float down here anymore.
I mean, I don't know what creative mind, like, fathomed the teaser poster for It Chapter 2, but goddamn, I wanna shake their hand. Mungus just posted it in chat.
It's as good as like a Da Vinci or, Michelangelo. It's a work of.
Wait a second, we covered it?
We covered the wrap up and we put the poster on there.
Oh, okay. I was about to fucking blow a goddamn gasket if we put an article to this stupid fucking poster. I was being facetious, alright? This fucking poster's dog shit. They didn't even try. You know what the poster is? It's the fucking, like, end title card of It Chapter 1. That's all it is. We saw this already when It Chapter 1 ended. Lazy fucking dog shit.
I guess that's the definition of a teaser, but considering we got the teaser at the end of the movie, we didn't necessarily need it as a poster. I'm just throwing that out there. We were teased already. Need not tease us again with this.
It wasn't. We weren't even teased. We knew there was going to be a second part.
Yeah, valid point.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we didn't go into the movie thinking, oh well, they're not going to do part 2. That's not going to happen. But I mean, anybody who's seen the original miniseries or read the book knew a part 2 was coming.
And a part 2 is coming. Thanks to this teaser poster, we know that. And that part 2 has wrapped filming. Like, it is done. It is in the can, aside from any potential reshoots that may or may not be happening. They're onto the post-production phase. Like, all like steams ahead.
Yep. I mean, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to fucking rip on this stupid fucking poster. But I loved It Chapter 1. I loved everything about it. I thought the kids' chemistry was very good. I loved everything about this movie. And I'm looking forward to It Chapter 2. But I do think they dropped the ball on one casting. And it was something I was like rallying and what's the word? Something I was like pulling for. It was like a dream casting for me for It Chapter 2, and I think they really dropped the ball and missed a great opportunity. It's I mean, if you've ever seen the original miniseries, you all know that Seth Green played Richie as a kid in part 1 of the miniseries. I thought it would be great if they were to get Seth Green to play the adult in part 2 of the remake. But, obviously that didn't happen. Who do they get to play Richie?
Bill Hader, I believe.
Bill Hader. Okay, yeah, you're right.
I'm a big fan of. I've really enjoyed his work for all throughout the whole comedy days. I'm not exactly sure if he's done other dramatic roles or anything like that, but if he hasn't, I think this is a really good opportunity to like kind of step out of that comedy shadow of his and see what he's really made of. Like, don't get me wrong, like, he may have already been doing these films for years now because I don't really follow him too much, but still a great opportunity. It's a mainstream film, and I think he was chosen for pretty much the right role here.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do all right. As I said, it was just a dream casting, and I thought it would be a really fun idea. Even though some people I mentioned it to on Twitter were like, "No, that would be a terrible idea." Like Seth Green is such an awful actor, right? All right, but I'm very much looking forward to this movie, and I think I think it's gonna do even better than the first one. I think chapter 1 fucking set the bar so high and got the hype so high, and it delivered that people are just like they can't wait. They want more, and they're gonna get it. And the only thing that sucks is that after they get more, that's it. That's it. The dinner is over. Time to go home, guys. There's nothing left to tell in that story.
Very true, and I guess like what we will be getting is a resurgence of Stephen King movies being remade or reimagined or whatnot. And like a lot of people complain about remakes significantly, and they pretty much complain about remakes all the time. But I think that a lot of Stephen King movies could probably do better. Nowadays, taken with like a more serious approach. Less of a 90s goofy feel to them. Some of those films back in the day, they were either adapted wrong or they had a completely different feel than you felt while you were reading the book. And I guess the era that we're living in, with the bar set by the new It movie, we could realistically see some really great films come out of this. Like the interest in Stephen King and being on top of the world. We've got a Dr. Sleep movie coming on the way. We have a Pet Sematary remake, which looks pretty fucking good, by the way. I forget when that's coming out, but there's a lot of cool things in Stephen King's suitcase or whatever you want to call it, that basically could be put out there as new movies, and a whole new generation could discover this stuff.
Yeah, the Pet Sematary remake, especially. I mean, I think that was one of King's best stories. So being able to, having a new audience be introduced to that one, I think that's going to be really good. And I think if it's half as good as Chapter 1 it was, that they're going to be looking into a lot more Stephen King adaptations.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. And real quick, before we move on to the next subject, I just want to give John Lithgow a little props. I've only seen a little bit of his performance as Judd in the trailer, and taking it, I'm thinking he's going to be good as Judd.
Yeah. I mean, John Lithgow is an amazing actor. I think a lot of people only really know him from Third Rock from the Sun and never really seen any of his I don't know, like any of his feature films, which he's got plenty of. But I think most people know him from Third Rock from the Sun, and they're like, it's that wasn't a serious role in any sense. But the guy's got some acting chops on him. Let me tell you, man. I like him. I'm a big fan of him. And stepping into Fred Gwynn's shoes, that's tough on every level.
Oh yeah.
But Fred Gwynn was a typecasted actor. Before he was on the Munsters, obviously that's what everybody knows him from, as Herman Munster. But I mean, before he was on the Munsters, he was on Where Are You, Car 54. Also had Al Lewis, Grandpa Munster, and that was a very great show. It was very fondly remembered. Then he got the job on the Munsters, and then everything after the Munsters, when he got hired for a job, everybody wanted Herman Munster. No matter what the part was, that's what they wanted from him, because that's all they knew of him. They didn't realize that this guy was like a classically trained actor. He was a Shakespearean trained actor, if I'm not mistaken. And it wasn't until he got the role as the judge in My Cousin Vinny that he was able to really spread his wings as an actor. I mean, I've heard stories of him, going on to the set of My Cousin Vinny, and him going and you know, him doing his first day of shooting, he would kind of ham it up in a Herman Munster kind of way, and the director cut and, you know, told him, you know, asked him what he was doing, and he kind of just assumed that the role and what the director wanted was Herman Munster, and the director was like, no, man, fucking, you know, do this your way. We don't want Herman Munster. We want, you know, a serious role, a serious actor. You know, this is a serious character. And it was almost like he couldn't believe it. He was finally getting to, you know, break free from the shadow of Herman Munster. And I think this is almost the same fucking thing when you think about it with John Lithgow. Again, people knew him as one of the goofy characters from Third Rock from the Sun. You know, it's a sitcom. And now he's playing a very serious role in a horror movie, a very classic horror movie. And I think people will start to see him in a bit of a different light now. You know, be it that the movie is good, but I don't think we have anything to worry about.
That's a hell of a story, and I've read a lot of stuff in the past about like other actors, classic actors, going through similar stuff, like Bela Lugosi, Karloff, yeah. Pretty much all of the Universal monsters had that exact same problem, and you know, it's really a shame because when they do get the opportunity to step out into the world of acting and really show them what they're made of, you know, people are like, why did we waste the last 20 years trying to get this guy to be Herman? You know, like it's a real shame that that's how Hollywood works, but you know, it comes with the territory. Thankfully, a lot of these actors are eventually given the shot that they pretty much desire the entire time and are able to do so before their careers come to an end. So it's great that we have this opportunity with Lithgow, and man, you know, fucking Judd from the original Pet Sematary is pretty much unforgettable. So, you know, it's a good thing, even though it was, you know, long overdue.
Indeed. And fucking indeed. Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to seeing John Lithgow. I'm a big fan of anything he does. You know, I like good actors, and I know good actors, and John Lithgow is one of them, man. And if you people aren't really familiar with him outside of Third Rock from the Sun, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Trust me on that. So moving on here. So one of the stars of It Chapter 2, Andy Bean, and Jason Voorhees 2009 himself, Derek Mears, will share the role of Swamp Thing in the upcoming TV series that I believe is slated for the WBDC streaming service, correct?
Yeah, I believe that's right. And it looks like the split role is going to be Derek Mears, obviously, like the new Doug Jones, I guess, playing the monster. He's going to be playing Swamp Thing himself, whereas Andy Bean's going to be playing Alec Holland, the human version of Swamp Thing. So I haven't seen too much of Andy Bean's work, to be perfectly honest, but hot on the heels of It Chapter 2 wrapping and coming out. Obviously, he had to be good to make the cut for this upcoming sequel. So, you know, it's nice to see the train just rolling and him stepping into a role that needs a real strong character actor to jump into.
Yeah, it seems like DC is really going all in with this streaming service, which I think is launched because I'm pretty sure there's multiple episodes of the Teen Titans show already out, and I believe that's only on this streaming service. I've heard mixed reviews about that, but it seems like they're going all in with this streaming service, and you know, they got to offer enough content. You know, you can't just have one or two things. They need good content, and good original content anyway. And I think this is a pretty cool character to tackle. They tried tackling it a few times in live action. It has never really worked out very well. No, I think the first movie was okay. I don't think it was.
Yeah, it was fun. I thought. Well, not necessarily fun. It was a really decent movie. Part 2, I've got a guilty pleasure for. It's not a good movie. I'm afraid to rewatch it because it's probably gonna be even worse than I remember it. But growing up watching Swamp Thing 2 on Channel 11 back when I only had basic television, not even basic cable. You know, like I had 5 channels, and they'd play the Return of Swamp Thing over and over again. Like I even recorded it off the television because you know, hey, may as well be able to watch it whenever. But I've got a nice a soft spot for that film. But the original movie is solid. I rewatched it a few years ago, and I dig it. It's not the best movie, but it's also not horrible. It has a really good atmosphere to it. So seeing them like add the hero element to it, and while maintaining the mad scientist, you know, billionaire monster, you know, deal, you know, like adding those elements to the DC universe type of thing is going to make for an interesting show. I feel.
Yeah. I slightly remember the movie, and I remember not hating the movie, and I remember knowing that that movie is much better than Marvel's Swamp Thing movie, which was Man Thing. Who I love the Man Thing character, but if you guys have ever seen the Marvel Man Thing movie, it's fucking atrocious, and I don't even know where they got any of the fucking material from on that movie. It was, ugh. But
I don't even remember it, to be perfectly honest.
No, it's probably a good thing.
Did you know that the original Swamp Thing was written and directed by Wes Craven?
No, I didn't.
The more you know.
Maybe that's why I didn't hate it. Like,
yeah,
again,
no, it's definitely good. It's not his best, but it's definitely a cool movie.
You know, but I think Swamp Thing is a pretty cool character, and you know, I think they're doing this casting pretty right. So I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to see it, being that I am not paying to watch DC stuff. I rarely go to the movies to watch DC stuff, though. Not gonna lie, probably going opening night to see this Joker movie. It looks really good.
Oh, and yeah, I absolutely can't wait to see that. I hate that we're deviating from Swamp Thing, but my God, does that look like we only got a fucking taste of that movie, and I mean,
yeah, I mean, all we've gotten are fucking, you know, some pictures.
Pictures and the makeup test. That first makeup test with that song. Oh man, it gave me chills the first time I saw it.
Yeah, so that's gonna be like the first DC movie I'm going into the theaters to see in a long, oh god, maybe ever.
So no Aquaman for you, huh?
I'm not seeing Aqua Dude.
Aquabra.
Aquabra.
I am definitely going to see Shazam, though.
I
never expected those words to ever come out of my mouth because I always thought the character was dumb, despite not knowing a lot about it, and I didn't like the look, I didn't like the feel. I was just like, oh, and then that trailer just rocked me.
I don't know. I just think that character has like the dumbest flaw ever. I mean, if he says his own name, he transforms back into a little boy. Yeah, that'll really fuck you over in the middle of a big fight.
Yeah, and I think it'd make for some really great comedy too. So, and based off the trailer, it looks like it's going to be a fun movie.
No,
so
it does. It does. I can't even like I'm not I hate DC. I don't hate DC. I'm just not a fan of DC. But I can't even say a bad thing about the trailer because like it honestly made me smile. I don't even know a goddamn thing about the character aside from he has to say his own name to transform.
I think that's a good thing though, because we're not going to go into it with these crazy expectations that fans of the property have pretty much grew over the years.
Yeah. Well, but Swamp Thing should be pretty cool. The casting's going pretty well. we'll see what happens. I would assume in about a year or so when it actually gets released. Moving on. So, apparently, they have announced that an official sequel to Night of the Living Dead, 1968, is going to be released in 2019. Now, technically, you want to get technical here.
I knew you were going into this.
Want to get fucking technical here. We had an official sequel back in 1978 called Dawn of the Dead. Yes, did not follow any of the characters from Night of the Living Dead. Takes place in a completely different, area. Still the same universe, but there's no direct tie-ins with Night of the Living Dead. Still a sequel.
They also had an unofficial sequel, a little movie written by John Russo, who also co-wrote Night of the Living Dead, and directed by Dan O'Bannon in Return of the Living Dead.
Yes. Well, all right. No. All right. So I actually found like this giant spider web, fucking like flowchart thingy, where yeah, it was. I don't even know how to explain it. But you had Night of the Living Dead in the middle, and then you had every other movie that is like somehow connected to it, branching off of it. I mean, obviously you had Night of the Living Dead here, then you had Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, I guess Diary of the Dead, and then Survival of the Dead. You had all those. Then you had other movies in a different branch, Return of the Living Dead, and then all their sequels. You had Zombie, and those sequels, which getting into the Italian movies is just fucking a nightmare on its own. Just trying to figure out where those movies fit in. All good movies, just a nightmare trying to fucking figure those out. It was actually I wish I could remember where I saw it. It was really cool. But and then you really want to get fucking confused. You got Day of the Dead Contagium or Contagium. Contagium? Dog shit. Day of the Dead dog shit. Which apparently they wrote as a prequel to the 1968 Night of the Living Dead. Then
they being a unrelated, unlicensed prequel, like not directly tied into any of Romero and his.
The idea behind it was actually pretty cool. The execution of it is garbage. Then you have Night of the Living Dead 3D, which starred Sid Haig, and fucking just collecting a paycheck on that one. Shame on you, Sid. Which I believe is supposed to fit in somewhere in the original Dead timeline. I don't know where. And then I think there's one or two others. I can't even remember. It's that entire world is just fucking trying to figure that one out, man.
It sounds as convoluted as Texas Chainsaw Massacre's timeline.
Oh god, let's not even get into that.
I'm not. You can't even friggin'. If you had a pen, piece of paper, some rollers, and you could never even time out that.
Yeah, I mean, I could hire a team of German physicists, and they couldn't even figure that shit out.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it's very similar in the sense for Night of the Living Dead and everything. The reason I brought up Return of the Living Dead is because of the connection from the writers. George took one name, John Russo took the other name, and they kind of split off, but in spirit, it was supposed to be like a quasi-sequel.
Yes, because, I mean, obviously, James Cameron's character, mentions in almost the very beginning of the movie that, what happened in Night of the Living Dead was true. It was, it was based on on facts, on something that actually happened. So that was their way to tie it into the Night of the Living Dead universe, just through basically only through James Cameron's character. James Cameron's character is the link. So that's pretty cool. Never really thought about it like that. But so we're getting some type of another official sequel.
But this time it looks like it's going to be an officially licensed sequel. Now that they got the rights to Night of the Living Dead all sorted out, and the original creators are now earning their royalties and all that good stuff, they are looking into taking, and a lot of people don't know this, but apparently after Night of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead, there was a sequel script that was written back in the day. And it's basically been locked in the closet for many, many years and has went unproduced until now. So they're kind of like looking up producers, getting producers together, the original writers, producers, and everything like that. And they're going to tie it all together, and they're supposedly going to make this movie. Now, what I don't understand is how they're aiming for a 2019 release when it's not even filmed yet.
What I want to know is, does that mean that Night of the Living Dead is no longer public domain?
It's no longer. I'm not sure. It basically, from what I've read, Criterion helped them get all the rights sorted out. So I don't know if it's. I don't know if it has to do with the new edited film. Maybe the original the original cut version is public domain still, and the new cut with the re-edit or whatever is now like in some sort of license area. I don't know exactly how to describe it. It sounds a little weird by the reading.
Interesting.
Because if you remember last year, we reported something along the lines of them finding the original negatives of the movie. So what I'm thinking is they took everything and re-edited, like the long lost cut footage into the new movie, resubmitted it for, copywriting and all that good shit, and voila, people are getting royalties now.
I was just kind of curious. You're saying the rights are all figured out. I mean, the rights weren't really ever an issue because the movie's been in public domain for so long.
Yeah, but that's where the issue was. They made a mistake with filing the rights in the first place, and they never got anything for that movie. It just fell, due to error, it fell into public domain very, very quickly. And George and John Russo and any of the actors, none of them could really live off of it outside of convention appearances and unrelated things like that. They couldn't get that. Every time there was a Night of the Living Dead release, it didn't matter. They didn't see any money from it. We could have put out a Night of the Living Dead copy and it wouldn't matter to them.
Yeah, that's why you'd always see Night of the Living Dead on one of those big horror DVD box sets that had like 100 different horror movies on it, and Night of the Living Dead would always be the fucking top billed movie because it'd be the only movie that anyone would fucking recognize. The rest would be the schlocky 60s and 70s movies from the 60s and 70s that nobody has ever fucking heard of.
Oh yeah, we've all bought one of those at one time.
I have a set. It was 2 DVDs. I think it was 8 or 10 movies, and one of them was Night of the Living Dead. And actually, surprisingly, it's that one of those DVDs is my only copy of House on the Edge of the Park is on it. Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory and fucking Don't Go in the Basement. Fucking all these movies nobody's ever heard of.
Oh yeah, I've always been like enthralled with those. Like I would go into Best Buy, especially when I was collecting heavy I'm like, oh my god, I could get 40 movies right now for the price of one. How could I go wrong? And I could count each of one of them in my collection. And then you look at the back and you're just like, oh man, I'm not even paying $20 for this.
$20. I think I paid like $5 for the set I got. But fuck Best Buy, man. Man, I you know when I stopped buying DVDs from Best Buy? You know when?
When?
When I got fucking had. I went into Best Buy one day, this is years and years and years ago, man. I went into Best Buy, and I'm looking through their horror section, and I come across this movie, banned in the UK, right on the cover. You know, such a ridiculously crazy movie. It's banned, you know, and that's like its whole marketing was banned. I was like, all right, I gotta own this. Never heard of it. I gotta own it. I bought it. I think I paid $25 for it. Brought it home. I watched it. Ugh. Listen.
Is it pieces?
Don't ever be fooled by a movie called Unhinged. It is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It is only slightly better than Buzzard Hollow Beef. And if you've read my review on Buzzard Hollow Beef, you'll know exactly how I feel about that one. And Unhinged is only slightly above it because there's actually some pretty good nudity in it. Actually, some really good nudity in it. Like, as soon as the movie starts, I'm not even kidding. I think that movie starts with a couple of broads in the shower. I was like, oh, yeah, it fucking sucked me in right away. Yeah, but the rest of the movie is bad. Bad, and the effects are even worse.
Yeah, but like after a little bit, once the DVD Blu-ray boom, I'd say just DVD boom hit, you pretty much smartened up. Banned, you saw Banned on the cover, you know, you knew to look the other way. Unrated, bonus footage, all that.
Director's cut.
Director's cut, yeah, it's as bad as saying this movie's based on a true story, based on one acorn of a detail, and the rest of it's all made up.
Yeah, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre was based on a true story.
It
sort of
was completely different. Same with Psycho. You know,
what again was Ed Gein, that was based on Ed Gein too, along with Silence of the Lambs, and but at least Silence of the Lambs took a lot more from the story of Ed Gein than like Psycho did, and well, I guess Texas Chainsaw Massacre only really took one aspect of it and really embellished it. I think Silence of the Lambs did a really good job of honing in on some of the more
macabre.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's the best word I could have used. Macabre aspects of the Ed Gein story. Which is probably why it's might be my favorite out of those three. I mean, I love Psycho and I love the original Texas Chainsaw. Don't get me wrong. But ever since I met Gunnar Hansen, he was a total douche. It kind of dropped that movie down a little bit on my list. And, Psycho is just on such another level by itself. But, I don't know. There's just something about Silence of the Lambs that's just like, man, I could watch this movie like 100 times in a row and not get tired of it. It's just, I think everything clicked in that movie. But I'm going off topic here.
I agree. I love it too. And it holds up very, very well.
Mm-hmm. Without a fucking doubt. I mean, like, I don't even know where to go with that. It's like, it's perfect. It's perfect. And if that might be one of those movies where you may never have to remake it, because I think in 30, 40, 50 fucking years, I think that movie is still going to hold up so goddamn well. Not going to matter. You know, Psycho is not going to hold up as well. And I guess we got our Psycho remakes. I mean, the Bates Motel TV series was unbelievably good. Like, fuck, so good. And I think because of how good that series was, we really don't need a Psycho remake anytime soon. And then we got our Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, and then I guess we kind of probably got one or two more. Because I don't know where some of those later movies fell in that goddamn timeline.
Don't try. Don't do it. We're not gonna figure it out.
But I mean that 2003 remake, was it? Right? I think it was 2003.
For Psycho, right?
No. Texas.
Yes, you're right. 2003.
Great remake. I love that fucking remake. I thought it didn't really do a good job of capturing the original, but I thought it did a great job of just really updating the original. Just like fucking
expanding it.
Yeah, seriously. It's like, alright, let's take that core idea and just go fucking batshit crazy with it. That's what they did. Loved it. Loved it.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake of 2009 that starred Jason Voorhees. That was a good one.
Well, it was same director, right? Was that Marcus Nispel?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't got a problem with, but yeah, seriously, the 2009 Friday remake really did feel like the Texas remake, but at the end of the day, I did like both. But it was just that real gritty, grimy feeling from the Friday remake. You know, it just, in my opinion, it didn't fit. You know, that fits for Texas. Doesn't fit for Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, you want more mystery and sort of elusiveness, and you didn't get that. But regardless, I enjoyed both movies. Both movies very much. Can't say too many bad things about either one.
So with that said, what do you think about this whole sequel?
I don't fucking know. What am I supposed to think about these fucking Night of the Living Dead universe movies anymore? I don't fucking know. It feels like every year we're getting a new movie that's taking place somewhere in that universe. You know, we're getting another Day of the Dead remake. Stop fucking doing it. Leave Day of the Dead alone. You ruined it fucking twice. Stop it. Stop it. Technically 3 times if you want to count Contagium. Alright, even though it wasn't a remake, it still used the Day of the Dead name, and I did not fucking appreciate that. You know, I personally didn't like the Dawn of the Dead remake. Then you had Diary of the Dead, which I thought was okay. I don't think it really fit in, but it was alright. It had good ideas, but it was a little heavy-handed. Yeah,
Survival kind of brought it back to, you know, the feel that he originally had, you know, in the original movies. But
yeah,
at that point in time, you know, it was the budget that was holding the film back. I really like Survival, you know, to the disdain of many.
Yeah, Survival, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of. I'm not going to sit here and rip on it because it's not the worst movie I ever saw, but... You know, and then I already talked about Night of the Living Dead 3D, and I swear to God, there is a Night of the Living Dead Origins that I saw a long time ago. Well, not too long, but right? Origins.
Yeah, I vaguely remember something kind of like that.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Night of the Living Dead Darkest Dawn is yeah, no, I'm right.
Origins
I'm right.
Is the thing that his son is making.
No, I'm right. I knew I saw a movie called... What the... I knew I saw a movie called Night of the Living Dead Origins. I just looked it up on IMDb. It comes up as Night of the Living Dead Darkest Dawn. But it looks like it has an alternate title called Night of the Living Dead Origins in 3D. And I remember seeing it. This is from 2015. And it was fucking awful. And I'm looking at the cast, and I am upset that a movie with this fucking... Oh, God, it was a... I think it was like some type of animated shit. It was. It was something animated, because all the fucking... The cast, it's all voice. And it's all...
I remember that. It was different art styles used to piece together the movie. Like they kind of remade Night of the Living Dead using animation, but with different art styles and kind of names within the universe. It wasn't very good. I like kind of skimmed through it.
You know what? I'm looking at the cat. It's all cast. A lot of the characters, the original character names from Night of the Living Dead. But I'm looking at the cast, and it's like, how did they sign on to this? Daniel Harris voiced Barbara. Bill Moseley was Johnny. Tony Todd was Ben. Again.
Great casting.
Dude, fucking Pilato. Joseph Pilato was Harry Cooper.
Even better casting. I might want to revisit this. You're like selling me.
Tom Sizemore was in it. He did a voice. I mean, I don't know how it turned out as bad as it did, but it did. I knew I remember seeing a movie called Origins. And it's just, alright, so with this sequel, I don't know what to expect. Maybe it'll be good, I don't know. I can't pass a judgment or even give an opinion until I get some type of meat to sink my teeth into, and I need a little nibble. Right, because a lot of these things just don't end well, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. You know, if this is a script that Romero wrote, maybe a few years after Night of the Living Dead, if they follow the script pretty closely and they get the proper director up in there, we might be in for a fucking treat. But we won't know. It said a 2019 release. I expect 2020.
Yeah, I'd say a 2019 start to it. The only thing that rubs me the wrong way about this thing, and then we can move on, is the fact that the press release is being a little bit coy with how they're wording who is involved in this. They're saying original creators. They're using words like producers, and the original creators and producers wrote the script, and they're not calling out George himself, but just the nameless people that are in control of the series right now. So I'm wondering.
Oh, that's worrisome.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it was some ideas that maybe George and John Russo had back in the day, and now they're overseeing a rewrite of it, or piecing things together now. For the original producers and everything like that being involved in this situation going forward, I think it's a good thing. I think it's great that they're able to finally tell another story on this whole thing. But half of me wants to say that they're probably excited that they now have some control back and they want to ride this out a bit. They're older, and what better way than slap Night of the Living Dead on a zombie movie? That's the best way to kind of make a quick buck, and I worry that's what they're doing. Maybe I'm wrong, so I guess we'll see.
I don't know. It's if they're really not naming George Romero by name as original creators, it could be like the original Best Boy Grip from 1968.
Well, I know that like the people that the powers that be are like John Russo and like Russ Steiner. The Steiners are involved in the whole producing of it, and so like if it's ideas from those people, they were on the set. They helped George make this movie. The original. I could appreciate something coming from them. If it's not from George. I wish it was from George, but, we're going to have to wait a little bit for some of his stuff.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. We don't know much about it yet, so we'll see. I'm just looking up on IMDb. There's like a bunch of other Night of the Living Dead movies I've never even heard of.
Of course.
I'm not even kidding. It's like Night of the Living Dead Resurrection, a 2012 UK movie? Fuck. Only got a 2.7 out of 10 rating on IMDb out of almost 1,200 fucking ratings. That is bad.
That sounds enjoyable.
But the Night of the Living Dead 3D movie from 2006 that had Sid Haig in it, oh my god, is that bad. That is so goddamn bad. And I think that was another, like, remake of sorts. But fuck, it's so not good.
I think I own it, and I think it was because it was one of those Blockbuster 2 for $20 deals, and I needed to find something to complete the $20.
Yeah, it was bad. Fuck. Alright, well, sticking with Night of the Living Dead and George Romero here, another bit of news is I remember reading about this idea before he passed away. But an unmade film turned comic that he was working on before he passed away called Road of the Dead apparently has finally been released. What do you got on this?
It was released today, actually. I saw it pop up into my news feed, and I knew they were doing something with it on the whole comic book front, but I didn't realize it was happening so soon. So, I'm just browsing around, and shit pops into my feed, and apparently it came out today in comic stores. I'm pretty excited about it because, like, anything that's related to the Dead universe that he may have been working on before he passed away, it's like a little piece of a fandom that I'm never going to be able to get again from the man. So it's nice that these things are being picked up, polished, dusted off, and completed. I mean, if you've heard some news recently, they pretty much discovered a bunch of unproduced scripts from Romero. They have a unreleased film from Romero. Like they kind of like unlocked some treasure chest at his house of some sort. And they found a ton of his stuff, novels and all this stuff that was just basically sitting in his chest for a rainy day. So this was one of them. The comic series came out today, as I said, and it's been put out by IDW, which is a very, very well-respected independent comic company. They put out some Ghostbuster comic books and a whole slew of other stuff. So quality-wise, it's probably going to be good. I'm not sure about the story. Let's see. The thing is called Road of the Dead, Highway to Hell. This is the little blurb on it. In the darkest days of the zombie apocalypse, this last safe place on Earth is anything but as a mad despot uses the spectacle of high-octane carnage to keep control of his populace. So he looks like he may have been like going on to some sort of just like a big road trip type of movie that goes around and
Mad Max meets Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, exactly. But the artwork looks amazing. I didn't get a chance to run over to the comic store today. I was going to buy it. I want to review it for the website. So as soon as I do that, keep your eyes peeled on Dead Entertainment because I'm going to review this bitch.
Wow, we're actually going to get a review from Mungus. Holy balls.
I've got a little bit of a backlog of things that I want to start writing about. I've got like 3 dead beats that I'm going to be putting out. I just discovered a band yesterday that I'm like obsessed with, and they only have 3 songs. So I'm going to be putting out a few articles in the future here.
Dude, I found a really cool band today. I'll talk to you about it more off stream.
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna have a great post-stream show.
But yeah, fucking review from him. Can you believe it? Or I gotta point that way. Yeah, a review from him coming up soon. Wow. I feel like I'm the only one who does fucking reviews on that site. I mean, there are a couple other people who get a review here and a review there, and some asshole who writes for a site who reviews great movies like Cat in the Brain 1.
Well, Michelle has been reviewing the Purge television show.
Yes, she has. Michelle's been doing an amazing job. She's been doing an amazing job with that.
Yeah, no, the reviews have been great. And speaking of reviews, you just put out a nice series of them.
I know. Fucking segue, bitches. That's what the professionals do. Segue. Yeah, you don't know about that shit.
They just don't brag about it after.
But yes, I had reviewed the entire Castlevania Season 2 on Netflix. The last episode review went live today. I'm going to give you guys a quick overview, as I am a very big Castlevania fan. I've been a fan of it ever since I was a kid, and I played it on the Nintendo Entertainment System. And I always loved the lore behind it. It was always very religious-based and good, the whole God versus the devil sort of thing, and that's always been a big fascination for me. Anything where it's good and evil in terms of heaven and hell, it's just always drawn me in, and this series really focuses in on that, and it does it in such a beautiful way. It's not as clear cut as just good versus evil, and Dracula being evil and everyone else, the church being good. It is so twisted, and it wonderfully blended. The show takes the lore into such it takes it and manages to expand on it in such perfect ways. Obviously Dracula is the villain, but if you've really looked into the lore, he's not the villain that everyone thinks he is. You don't get it too much from the games, because the games, you're just going around whipping shit and killing things. You're not sitting there learning the backstories behind it all. But if you ever dug deeper into the lore, you realize that Dracula is, waging this war for a reason. The reason is all out of love. And at that point, when a villain is doing something out of love, and when I say love, I mean pure, deep, undying love, it no longer is this villain a villain. It's that is when a villain truly crosses a line into tragicness, and it raises this villain to heights that other characters can only hope to achieve. And what they did with the Vlad Tepes character in this show is unbelievable. They managed to convey his sadness, his broken heart, and and the fact that he mourns every day and every night, every second that he's awake and conscious. He's mourning over the loss of his human mortal wife. And then this is where his crusade begins. And the show, mind you, these are only 30-minute episodes. And we're not spending the entire, well, not even 30 minutes. We're talking more like 22 to 25-minute episodes. And we're not spending that entire time with Dracula. But the time that they spend with the character, they do not waste a single second, a single frame, a single line of dialogue. And by the end of this season, you truly get it. You truly feel that this character, you sympathize for him. And when a show gets you to sympathize with the villain, man, you got some amazing writers and a top-notch director working on this show. I can't say enough nice things about what they did. I can't say enough great things about how it was for me as a lifelong fan of Castlevania, of the lore, of the characters, what they did with this season, and obviously season 1, which is only 4 episodes. It's a pilot season, really. But what they did, it's everything I've always wanted in a Castlevania show. And I mean, as I said, I'm a lifelong fan to the point where I actually wrote a script for a live action movie. That's something I did 10 years ago. It's something I always thought should be translated to a different medium. And, we got it on Netflix now. Season 3 is greenlit. And we're getting more, and I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. Obviously, Season 2 followed Castlevania Part 3, Dracula's Curse. And it finished off that storyline. And there is more of that story to tell. There is more lore from, I think, 2 or 3 years after Dracula's Curse ends. There is more story, and I think that might be what we get in Season 3. So, we have definitely not seen the last of Trevor. I don't think they're going to move to a different Belmont just yet. That might come in Season 4. We might get... obviously, the next Belmont in line would be Simon, which is the most famous of the Belmonts. But overall, this was an amazing season. And episode 7 is the episode. That's it. It's the episode. Episode 7 is the definitive episode for Castlevania. As I said in my review for that episode, if you're a fan of Castlevania, you always envisioned what a show would be like in your mind. You could see the show in your mind. That's what episode 7 turned out to be. It is every fanboy's wet dream for a Castlevania episode. So if you're even remotely interested in the series, you can't pass the Netflix show up. Enjoy it. It's amazing. The voice acting, the dialogue, the animation. The animation is very it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And it seems like they borrowed from a lot of different animation styles. You'll see animation styles that'll remind you of anime. And there's actually a lot of scenes that remind you of the animation style in shows like Metalocalypse and stuff. So the animation is great. It's very fluid though, but it changes depending on the scene and what exactly they're showing. And I loved it. Very beautiful animation, absolutely phenomenal. Everything about it. The voice actors that they got for the show are perfect. The chemistry between the characters, especially the heroes, Trevor, Alucard, and Sypha. The chemistry, it just grows and grows and grows, and it's beautiful the way they end it. And my only complaint about it is that they cut out the character of Grant the Nasty, who was a character in the Part 3 video game that they just completely cut out. It sucks because he was an interesting character. I would love to have seen what their take on him would have been in the show, but at the end of the day, not including him did not take away from anything. They managed to write him out in a perfect way, and you won't even notice. So, at the end of the day, Season 2, simply because of Episode 7, is a near-perfect season. There's not a bad episode in the 8, but it's perfect in my opinion. I would not change anything about any of the episodes, and I cannot wait for Season 3.
Well said, man. I haven't caught up on any of it. I haven't even started the first season, as expected. But I've been hearing nothing but great things about it, so I'm really looking forward to just sitting down on a Saturday and just binging it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it won't take you long. It'll take you a few hours.
Yeah, that's the part that's tempting, but I have so many things that I want to do. I just don't have the time to do it, unfortunately. But that's definitely on my to-watch list very, very soon. Not on one of those to-watch lists eventually, thankfully. So it should be. I'll be giving some thoughts in the next few weeks. Well,
if you have any questions, definitely hit me up. I'm not an expert, but I do know quite a bit, especially when it comes to the earlier games, and when it comes to like the first 3 games on the NES, Symphony of the Night, Rondo of Blood. I'm very knowledgeable about those. I really didn't play any of the Game Boy Advance and the DS games. It's like a Portrait of Ruin and Aria of Sorrow, and
I think that's it.
And some of the other ones. There was probably like 5 or 6 Game Boy Advance and DS games, and I never owned either one of those systems, so I never played them. Some of those take place like way into the future, and they're weird.
Well, the upside for me is the only games for Castlevania that I've ever played were the Nintendo games. I never played anything beyond that, and I think I toyed around with Nintendo 64 version.
Oh God!
But
well, there was 2 of them. There was Castlevania
was
64 and Legacy of Darkness.
I think it was the first one, and I wasn't too thrilled with, I had in my mind the way Castlevania should look, and that's basically a side scroller. But I was always picturing like that side scroller brought to life, not this weird. I don't know. The art style just didn't fit Castlevania back then, in my opinion. But it's evolved significantly using the original art style as well as the newfound art style. So, I can't complain too much. But back then, I was just like a little turned off by it. But in any case, my brother read your reviews, obviously, and he said that they were real solid. And he said he complimented. He said, "Matt knows his shit." So definitely check those articles out. I just posted a link in the chat. And if I need any Wikipedia guide, I'm skipping Wikipedia and I'm going straight to you.
Yeah, definitely. I was geeking out and fanboying out at a lot of episodes because I'm sitting and I'm watching and I'm seeing little Easter eggs from like the game franchise. I'm like, oh my God, I see that, it's there, and it's one of the only times I've ever geeked out like that. Just seeing super little Easter eggs, or seeing, just villainous characters that get a couple minutes of screen time before they're whipped into oblivion by Trevor. That was great. A couple of boss characters from the games, they made appearances this season. A couple of sub-weapons. We never really saw any sub-weapons in Season 1, but like the throwing daggers, we saw those. And, we saw Alucard use a familiar, and Alucard transform. And, it was all of these little Easter eggs and love letters, rather, from the game franchise. We saw it in the show. These people, they know the lore, they know the show, and the games rather, and they gave it to us. They finally gave it to us, and as I said, episode 7 really ties it all together, and it gives us what we wanted, and that includes the soundtrack. That I will not spoil if you have not seen it, but you will be pleasantly surprised at how well that they handle the soundtrack for episode 7. I
heard it, and it's a treat. That's all I'm gonna say.
And when you watch it, it's not as bold as people might thought it would have been, but it fits in with the time period of the show. And just the animation and the flow of everything. The soundtrack plus what it's playing on top of in the show, it's absolutely beautiful. I cannot say enough nice words about what they did with episode 7. Episode 7 of Castlevania Season 2 might be the greatest 20 minutes I have spent as a fan of anything. I'll leave it at that. Just take that for what you will. It's funny, as I'm saying that, I have Castlevania music from Symphony of the Night playing, and it's like my favorite song from that OST.
Very fitting, I'd say.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the main topic, and we're gonna have to just kind of save the rest of the geek and comic news for next week because we're already running deep. But let's go ahead and get into this. So, Walking Dead had their big send-off episode for Andrew Lincoln's character this week. Fans were expecting one thing. The show gave him another. Backlash ensued.
Not that bad. I'm seeing more positive than backlash, to be perfectly honest.
I don't know. I saw a lot of people who were kind of upset that it didn't go one way.
Okay, we'll pause real quick. I just want to make this known right now that we are going to be, well, I am. Bates doesn't watch the show. But I'm going to be diving into spoilers. So if you did not see this last episode of The Walking Dead and you really care about spoilers, I'd say this is where you get off the train. See you next week because I don't think we're going to be doing anything else tonight after this. But spoilers, heavy spoilers of what happened to Andrew Lincoln's Rick Grimes, as well as what's ahead on this coming week's episode. So just wanted to get that out there right now.
All right, so we all knew from a year ago that this was Andrew Lincoln's last season. We all knew that there was going to be one episode this season that was going to be his final episode, and that was this week. And they hyped it up that way. They let us know that this was it. You're not going to see Rick Grimes anymore after this episode. As fans of the show, most people assumed, oh, well, it's his final episode. That bitch gonna die. Because that's what you do. That's what you do when in these certain situations.
And a lot of fans are mad about that too. They didn't want a character that continues to walk the earth in the comics to not walk the earth on the show. And I could perfectly understand that as a longtime watcher and reader.
So, as you were watching the show, as a big fan of the show, has been watching since the very beginning, when you realized that Rick was not going to be killed, what was your immediate reaction to that?
Well, they kind of played us for a fool twice. Not only did they make the announcement that he will not be returning to the show, and things changed there, but they played this whole episode as this big, huge tribute to the character, and it was, oftentimes it was beautiful. And if it was his last breath on this show, my God, you couldn't have sent them off in a different way, or a better way, rather. So right at the end, when he explodes the bridge to save the entire population of the communities, and you basically see the whole thing go up in flames, you are fully coming to terms with him being dead. Like, he did not survive. If he did not survive the wound that was bleeding out for the past few hours on the show, he definitely did not survive the explosion. So, as the episode went on a little bit, very, very short, you find out that was basically blown back by the blast and everything. And my immediate reaction was, I kind of figured they were going to do that. I figured they were going to keep it open-ended because, the door is still open. The reason why Andrew Lincoln wants to leave the show is to spend more time with his family, and he had to move to Georgia to commit to this, and it's been a long, near 10 years. So, you kind of understand where he's coming from with wanting to, hang up the old cop hat. That being said, they also didn't want to piss off the fans. And I feel like with Carl's death last season, they had already done that, and everybody was basically like, I'm fucking done with this. And that's disappointing because they just got over one of the comic book's better arcs, except on the show they made it last way too long, and people were getting agitated over the whole thing. So just when the show was getting finding its steam again, finding its footing, it got hit another blow with Andrew Lincoln leaving the show. So everybody went into this like, this is my last episode. Like, I know my brother he watched the episode like, I'm not coming back for this. And I was a little more optimistic because the show had gotten good these previous 4 episodes. And, the ending right there left a bit of hope that something might come of it in the future. Maybe in a few years he'd return to the show or whatever.
If you could change his departure or final episode in any way, would you have, or do you like how the writers handled it?
I think there was no better way to do it. If they killed him off, you're going to have people really pissed off. If they didn't kill him off, you're going to have people really pissed off. Like, there's no better way to handle the situation than simply leaving it open-ended. And the thing is people were mad at the very beginning. The initial gut reaction after that episode aired was like, the fuck? Like, why are we all tuning in for his final episode and you're going to leave it in oblivion? It's somewhere in purgatory of where Rick is heading. Like, he was picked up by the character of Jadis and flew off to this mysterious land where this talking person on the helicopter is coming from. Nobody knows the whole situation with that, but he's been taken and he's being treated. His wounds are being treated and he made it out alive. That's all well and good, but without a promise of anything else, you're like, I could understand the initial feeling of betrayal. However, right on the following episode of The Talking Dead, which is their talk show that follows The Walking Dead, Scott Gimple, the producer, I forget what his official title was, but he's ex-showrunner of the show. Thank God that he's moved on up because he wasn't the best. He announced that they're going to be continuing Rick's story in 3 feature-length movies that will air on AMC. So with that bit of news following that initial gut punch, I feel very good about that because it's a less grueling schedule for Andrew Lincoln, and it's going to take Rick to an area where he needed to be as far as the show went. Like him just going into this cycle of being weak, being strong, fighting evil people, fighting evil zombies, being overwhelmed, being underwhelmed. It was just a pattern that he couldn't get out of, the character. And in this particular case, it brings him to an entirely new environment, and it might repeat that cycle, but it's going to become fresh. He's no longer going to have the entire group of people to look after, and it's, like those people are going to exist in the world, and I'm sure he's going to miss them, and everything comes with being a human, but the continuation of his story just got interesting as far as I'm concerned.
Now, his character was a main character, if not the main character, on the show. Do you feel like the show is going to be able to, hold its own without him moving forward?
I think so. The one other gut punch that we received this past episode is it wasn't as big of a fanfare, but this is also Lauren Cohen's last episode, the one that just recently aired. And she was the character Maggie Green, or Ree, whichever way you wanted to look at it. And she was being, she was being set up to be the next Rick, the female version of Rick, and very strong leader. But in this particular case, there's a whole lot of behind-the-scenes nonsense going on, and she is leaving the show as well. But the door is open. She's very much open to having her character come back at some point. But for us to lose Rick and then the person being set up to be kind of like Rick, that's a one blow after another. There are strong characters that can take over, one of which is Norman Reedus, A lot of people rolled their eyes at that thought, but I feel like he's going to interesting places this season, places that he hasn't been in years. Like his character hasn't been interesting in years. So I think, like him having the opportunity to step up is going to really make for some change. And then there's a few other characters like Michonne and Carol that are kind of going to have an opportunity to really swing and hit it out of the park. But if their characters weren't strong enough now to do so, I feel the next bit of information is going to make them do so. And that's if you watch the preview of The Walking Dead, which is going to be... they previewed right after the Walking Dead episode, they previewed the next 3 episodes right after very end sequence. If you haven't seen the episode and you're still listening, the very end sequence is a group of travelers. They're running through the woods, being overwhelmed by zombies, and the zombies just start getting shot. And we find out that it's Rick's daughter that was doing the shooting, which basically means that the show is jumping forward, because in this episode, Rick's daughter was 3 or 4 years old. So come to find out, based off the preview, the show is jumping 6 years ahead after what happened with Rick. So we're going to have a lot of character growth, between now and then. And the characters are going to be forced to be in far different situations than they are. It's going to be a real big advancement that's going to be going forward. So I think if the characters aren't where they should be to continue taking over after Rick left, I really think they're going to be with that time jump.
So do you think with this new direction that the show is moving into, especially with the massive move forward, time jump and moving forward in time with the show, do you think that the dwindling ratings and viewership that the show has been garnering the last couple of seasons, do you think this is going to win back fans and the ratings may not drop as drastically as they have been? Do you think this is going to help?
I think it's certainly going to pique people's interests, because like I said in the other little long-winded rant, the thing that's really dragging people out of the show is the fact that it's basically just been repeating a formula. They're attempting to push characters forward, but they're doing it in awkward ways. Previous seasons, I mean. So what this is going to do is kind of soft reboot The Walking Dead. We're going to have plenty of familiar faces, but this gives the showrunner and the writers an opportunity to play outside of the sandbox that they created and that Robert Kirkman created in the comic books. It's really going to let them select what they want to do and use from the comics and kind of build it into their own world. So, if as long as the writing is good, as long as the performances continue to be well, I don't see that it's going to hurt the show. They have an uphill battle, though, in my opinion. It's the disinterest seems to be contagious, I guess you could call it. People all kind of tuned out en masse, and I don't know what's weird. It feels like it's almost a trend. It's almost a fad, to all of a sudden hate The Walking Dead. And granted, I've been complaining about things in The Walking Dead for the last few years, and I see people's points, but I also see that it's some of it that they're saying is blind and irrational. People continue to talk about The Walking Dead like they're watching it, yet can't stand it, supposedly. So it's this really weird culture that we have going on right now. But in any case, from my perspective, it looked like a lot of people were they raised their eyebrow to what happened this past Sunday, and now they're going to be like, all right, let's give this another shot. Hopefully the writers are smart enough to not repeat old trends, and by the looks of this season, it seems like they're heading in the right direction.
You have any other final thoughts on this topic?
This is something I've been kind of talking about them doing for years, and well, when my brother watched the episode before I did, and he's like, this is we've talked about this, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you what happens, but what happens is something that we've kind of like shot around when we were talking about ideas of how the show could kind of like get a second breath, and to see them jump forward in the way that they did, and to kind of put Rick's daughter in the same role as Carl, it gives them a second chance to I don't know, kind of backtrack on something that they did that they didn't necessarily maybe they were regretful of, and it gives them another opportunity to move forward at the same time with a new, fresh perspective. So that being said, I'm looking forward to what's happening in these next episodes. They're introducing the Whisperers, and shit's on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, well, there you go. There you go. I'm not a fan of the show, so I can't sit here and give my opinion on any of it. I don't hate the show, but it was just not something it ever really grabbed me. But I sort of stay up to date with all the news because it's big horror news within the horror community. So something happens in The Walking Dead, obviously I hear about it and I read about it, but I kind of keep my opinions to myself when it comes to the show because I'm not familiar enough with it to accurately give my opinions. Which is what you're here for.
Exactly. Like I didn't want to let this week go by without having talked about it. Like dare I say, if you're kind of still interested in the show and may have just tuned out because of time, or like you're like, okay, well maybe it could get better one day, I would say catch up. The last half of last season was pretty good. This season started really strong, and then I'll go on the limb and say that like this episode, knowing that going forward there's going to be Rick movies, there's going to be a whole new timeline, and a lot of the stuff from the comics is still going to be maintained. I say going forward, this episode is must watch, especially if you're a fan of the books and the show itself. I think you owe it to yourself.
There you go. Words from an OG fan right there. Well, we are already running late, so we are going to go ahead and end it here. We had some geek and comic news, but we'll touch on that next week. So a quick thank you, everybody, coming out tonight. Had a lot of fun tonight. Had some really good discussions, good rants, all that good fun stuff that I hope you guys love. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell so you know when we go live. But we go live around the same time every week. Wednesdays, 8 p.m.-ish Eastern Time. You can also follow us on Twitter at DeadEntSite. And you can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/DeadEntertainment. You can follow myself on Twitter, right there, at Bates_MotelMT. You can check out my channel, Live Deliciously in Game. I don't know. Search for it. You'll find it. You can follow Mungus on Twitter. At Ray Mungus. And make sure you check out deadentertainment.com for all your horror needs. All your, your reviews. Or some of your reviews, anyway. And you're good. We got a lot of great, unique and original editorial and article pieces about music, movies, anything and everything. Right now, I have a feature article. It was released last week. A piece I put a lot of work into, a really awesome piece about before Danny Elfman became big as a music composer, he was in a band, and that band did a lot of horror-themed and sci-fi and macabre music. And I wrote about his time and the music that he made in Oingo Boingo. So definitely check that out if you're a fan of Danny Elfman. Talk about a lot of his cool horror-themed songs. You guys don't want to miss that. It's a piece I put, as I said, I put a lot of work into that one. Some good stuff there. I also reviewed the entire Castlevania series, all 8 episodes, each one a different review. Check those out as well if you are, at least somewhat interested in the Castlevania lore and franchise, and watch the series, man. Don't fucking pass that up. As I said earlier, or as we both said earlier, we will be doing our next live commentary. As of right now, we're looking at Black Friday. It'll be about an 8 p.m. start time, and we're watching American Hippie in Israel. If you don't have the movie, if you can't find the movie, as I said, message me or tweet me, obviously on Twitter, and I will help point you in the right direction for that one. That's not an easy one to find, American Hippie in Israel, but I do believe it is on YouTube, so keep that in mind. You got anything to plug on your end?
Yeah, I was just going to add that deadentertainment.com is where you have to be tomorrow. Only because, I'm looking at the schedule for tomorrow, and it is fucking packed. Right now, there is 13 new articles up on the site that are going to be going live on social media tomorrow morning. You could go check them out right now. There's 13 of them right this second. One big article coming up with some cool, interesting Friday the 13th / Victor Miller news. We got a little interview, makeshift interview going on for an article tomorrow. That's not up yet, but it will be by the end of the night. And I believe we're going to have a review of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina as well. I just got to double check that. So deadentertainment.com. Check our Twitter, check our Facebook, or just go over there right this second when we end and start reading, because there's some really, really good stuff up tonight.
Yeah, I haven't watched that series yet. I was thinking about watching it because it does look pretty good and doing reviews on all of those, but I thought somebody else would have fun. One of the other writers for the site would have fun doing that.
Yeah, and it turned out that Brandon took it, our Twitch guy, the guy who streams on Twitch for us. He really adores the show and the comic series, so he decided to tackle it. I think it's one review, so it's not episodic, but it's one giant review. So definitely check that out. It's either going to be going up tonight or tomorrow night. So go read.
That's good, because I'm not familiar with the lore behind that show. I would have done it just to do it because the show does look good, and I will be watching it at some point. But I'm glad somebody who knows the lore is tackling that. That's more appropriate in my opinion.
For sure. I'm definitely diving into that very soon. It looks amazing. So looking forward to watching it and reading that review. So don't wait. You go read it now or tomorrow, whenever.
But all right, so that is going to do it for us, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you again next week, same time, 8 p.m.-ish Eastern Time, for another episode of Way of Life Live. Make sure you find us on Twitter and Facebook. Like us, follow us, all that good stuff. Thank you again. And remember...
What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.